This video is the fifth in a series about finding your new home after age 50. I'll be talking about ways you can prepare for a move to your new home. Moving in your younger years probably meant simply recruiting a pickup truck owning friend with the promise of pizza and beer. Now, past age 50, moving takes on a bit more complexity. It requires forethought and planning to reduce the chance of a stressful experience. In this video, we'll cover 4 phases for making a move: planning, downsizing if necessary, other pre-moving day preparations, and moving day. First, let's talk about planning your move. Everybody's moving situation differs. Yours might be moving locally or across the country, moving directly from your former home into your new home, or ping-ponging between the old place and the new residence temporarily or indefinitely, and then downsizing, upsizing, or same sizing. Whatever your unique situation, a well thought out moving plan is essential. These tips will help in the planning phase. First, learn about the new location. Learn about the local resources in the new geography that could be helpful during your move. For example, knowing the location of the closest Target or Walmart, as well as the local grocery, hardware, and drugstores will be helpful from day one. Also, learn the local rules about moving trucks and parking to avoid unnecessary hassles once your stuff arrives. Next, what about using a storage unit? Consider the possibility of using a storage unit temporarily. It might be necessary if some of your belongings need to be out of the old home to better stage it for sale. Also, depending on your timeline, you may not have enough time to properly go through the downsizing process. Placing items in storage will buy time until you have the bandwidth to go through things. In either case, research storage options and pricing early in the planning cycle to avoid last-minute rushes. Another important aspect is the moving budget. A long-distance move can cost around $5,000 and a local move $1,000. If you're doing it yourself or handling the packing, investigate the cost of a truck, protective padding, boxes, tape, and other supplies. Don't forget to keep track of the expenses, since some might be tax deductible. Here's a big decision. Should you hire a professional mover? The older we get, the less most of us want to undertake a do-it-yourself move. Perhaps you're lucky enough to know willing young relatives or friends with trucks. For most of us, though, hiring a professional mover makes sense. The challenges are to find the right mover and to work effectively with that company. Here are some guidelines for working with professional movers. First, research moving companies. An internet search will yield many options. Read their reviews to narrow down the list. Second, get each mover's state or federal registration number. Also, request proof of insurance. A lack of this information raises a red flag regarding the mover's reliability. Third, get written quotes from 3 or more companies. Insist on an on-site or video inspection of your belongings to ensure an accurate estimate. Estimates differ as to whether they are binding or not. Educate yourself about the differences to avoid surprises. Finally, know your bill of lading. The BOL is your contract with the mover. Take time to read this over and ask questions before signing. Have it close at hand during the move and store it safely after the move. After the completion of the planning phase, now it's time to execute. If your plan calls for downsizing, that should be the next task. In many cases of moving after 50 years old, going to a residence with less square footage is common. Unfortunately, this implies that all your stuff won't fit into the new place. Therefore, you will need to initiate a downsizing project. Below are some guidelines for making this process less daunting. Downsizing requires its own subplan. Within that plan, knowing there are 4 options for dealing with your stuff. The 4 options are keeping, donating, selling, or trashing. First of all, however, figure out the amount of downsizing needed. Knowing the exact measurements of your new place will help determine if large items like furniture will fit. Also, think about the lifestyle you desire in your new home. Do you feel like you are currently overloaded with stuff in your current home? If so, this may be the opportunity to streamline your living space to create a more peaceful and inviting environment. The downsizing task can be overwhelming, so downsize over time. If you anticipate moving in the future, consider a modest modest downsizing sprints over time. For example, one tactic would be to every 5 years pretend you're moving and go through things that you with that thought in mind. Otherwise, give yourself lots of runway before the move date to sort through your stuff. We often neglect to get rid of stuff due to you never know attitude. Unfortunately, this leads to you never throw reality. One antidote for this vicious cycle is to tag items with an expiration date. When you pick up an item, affix a strip of masking tape with the date in the future and the words dispose of after this date. Then, when you pick up the item later, it's past its expiration date, you can get rid of it. Let's be honest. There are some prized possessions or memorabilia that you will never give up as long as you live. You may intend to pass these down, but your relatives and friends may or may not value them in the same way. Consider offering the items to your loved ones now, along with a written description of why the things are important to you. If they say yes, perhaps they can take the items right away. Otherwise, you may need to store the items until they can take possession. On the other hand, if they are not interested in and you still can't let go, keep the written information with the item so people in the future know what the object meant before they toss it. Sometimes we keep an item simply for the sake of good memories. One way to preserve the memory is to take a picture of the item before disposal. That way you'll have a visual record of the cherished item. Downsizing furniture can be a headache due to size. There are several tactics to handle these larger items. You can offer them to the buyers of your current home, either for free or at cost. Offer them to friends or family. Sell at a garage sale or using online resources like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Donate to a charity like Habitat for Humanity. Offer for free at your curbside or through an online resource like freecycle.org. Or trash by either transporting the items yourself to the dump or hiring a junk hauling company. For most things, the objective would be to have the receiving party do the hauling for free or at a low cost. Finally, there are circumstances which don't allow for a proper downsizing before moving. In these cases, a logical approach would be to do the move now, sort later approach. While this adds extra moving and or storage costs, occasionally it is simply unavoidable. As moving day approaches, there are some other important preparations. First, keep in touch with the mover. Confirm dates and pricing with the mover in the weeks before the big day. Make sure you know when and how the mover expects to be paid, either by credit card, check, or cash. Of course, this is the biggest task of all is packing. Packing and unpacking are the two biggest tasks you'll undertake in moving. Of the two, however, packing is the more time-consuming. So not only do you need to carefully pack your things, but you also need a game plan for doing the job logically. Here are 5 packing priorities. Number 1, assume you've completed the downsizing process. There are some remaining things that should not be packed because commercial movers often prohibit them. These are hazardous materials like yard chemicals, gasoline, propane, and fireworks, perishables like frozen food, sensitive personal items like important financial and legal documents, jewelry, and medications. If feasible, you'll need to move these items yourself or arrange for safe disposal as appropriate. Number 2, when packing, label all boxes and make notes on the contents of each box. This will ensure that boxes get to the right room for unpacking. Also, the list of box contents will help you locate things much faster. Number 3, avoid packing items from multiple rooms in one box. Also, packing one room at a time will make the process feel less chaotic. Number 4, pack in the order that you'll need the items. For example, pack things like books and home decor first, and daily essentials like dishes, clothing, and toiletries last. Unpacking reverses the order. Number 5, when packing heavy items, put things in the smallest possible boxes to avoid overloading. Aside from packing, there are some other pre-moving day tasks to accomplish. First, tell people where you're going. Now is the time to make address changes, schedule mail forwarding, and prepare to end services like refuse pickup, landscaping, and house cleaning. In addition, notify utility companies of your move in order to transfer your service to the new residence. Arrange for a pet sitter. As much as we love our pets, they can be distracting on moving day. Also, animals can experience anxiety when their familiar environment is disturbed. Find a pet sitter who can take care of pets on the big day. Schedule time for cleaning. Once the home has been emptied out on moving day, don't underestimate the cleaning task that follows. Suppose you're moving out of a rental unit. In this case, the return of your damage deposit may be contingent on the quality of the cleaning job. It may make sense to hire someone to handle this task so you can focus on getting your belongings unpacked at the new residence. So, it's finally moving day. Now all your careful planning will pay off. Here are some ideas to make that day go as smoothly as possible. Final packing. Pack all the items used day to day, such as a few days' worth of clothing, toiletries, and medication. Also, consider packing a box of moving day essentials like tools, paper towels, bottled water, toilet paper, hand soap, cleaning supplies, scissors, and box cutters. Another thing to do is visit your ATM. Having some cash at the ready can help solve unanticipated issues. For example, you can send someone to the store to buy essential items that otherwise might slow down moving day momentum. Also, if you're using professional movers, you'll want to have cash for a tip. The customary rate is 10 to 20%. Place protective materials. Moving day can be hard on a home's interior. Cover the floor and protect the walls as necessary to minimize damage and cut down on post-moving cleaning. Make a final circuit of the home. Once everything has been loaded up, take a final walkthrough to ensure nothing was left behind. Don't miss storage areas, including cabinets and closets, two common areas that commonly get overlooked in the packing process. Before unloading begins, take a quick tour of the home and with the movers so that they know where to put things. Also, identify any repairs that may be needed in the new place. It will be easier to spot things before furniture and boxes are brought in. Also, if there's time, vacuum and do any other necessary cleaning in the empty space. Finally, set up any protective materials to shield the floors and walls. Now it's time for moving in and unpacking. Carefully labeling pays off now as the right things get put in the right rooms. Start by unloading boxes with essentials in the kitchen, bedrooms, and bathrooms. Other boxes can probably wait until tomorrow and beyond. During the moving in and unpacking process, you'll need to act as the boss of the operation. Movers will constantly look to you for guidance as the unloading process progresses. Make sure you're available to answer questions to keep the overall effort flowing smoothly. If you're wondering what furniture to set up first, start with the beds. Before any other furniture is reassembled, put your bed together. You'll make good use of it by the end of the day. The next priority would be to get the kitchen table and chairs ready. Having a place to sit down and rest with a little food and drink will help the day go a little faster. Finally, take a break and celebrate. Be careful not to overdo it on moving day. If your careful planning was effective, you'll be able to knock off for the day with everything unloaded, essentials unpacked, and basic furniture set up. Now take it easy. Celebrate a successful moving day and begin to enjoy your new home. I hope this video about finding your new home after 50 has been helpful. In the rest of the video series, we'll cover more things to think about as you consider your next new adventure in life.